Good afternoon, y'all. Or I always say that only because it's the time of day where I'm at. And technically you could be any given time, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're in Australia and it's like yesterday. Anyway, I'm actually going to do something different than a process video. My daughter has told me that I need to do things other than process videos. So I'm going to do that. And if you hear noise right now, it's because I'm raising my table because I decided to stand. I wanted to initially make sure that I could get all the layouts in the frame here. So what I'm sharing is the layouts that I made on the March 2020 Pagemaps. And I'm bringing that up here so you guys can see. It's the 2020 Becky Fleck Pagemaps. These are online. You can go to their website. They actually have an archive of all different ones. So I'm going to share the March ones I've made so far. I have not actually attempted this 2-pager, mostly because I keep a little pack of photos in a little photo thing next to me that I want to do. And I had actually already done, there's my cat, so sorry. I had already done all like my multi-photo stuff. So, well, I shouldn't say all the multi-photo, all the ones I had like, 8 pictures for. Saturn, are you going to visit? I'll put her down in a second. Anyway, so I hadn't done this one yet, but I've done all the other ones. And in fact, one of them I did twice, and I'll show you in just a moment. So basically, I've numbered these things. So layout number 1, and I'll pick this up and show you in between each one, although not too much because I don't want to make the video 100 miles long or 100 years long. But anyway, so layout number 1. This one, I actually turned. So if you look at it this way, I guess it really would have been like this. And I turned it. Hold on. Sorry. I'm sorry. You don't need to be up there. Anyways, so this is a layout that, again, the sketch was horizontal. The pictures were gone this way. And I've turned it, well, technically this way, because I have the one photo down here. I didn't have all these photos, so I used it as basically a journaling, or not journaling, excuse me, embellishment kind of section. So I guess the point of this is when you use sketches, obviously you can turn and rotate and flip and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what I've done here. And even this one, I didn't technically use a tag. I just used a little 3x4 journaling card. So this is layout number 1. And you can see pretty much, I wouldn't say all of these on my Instagram, but a number of them I put out there. So that's layout number 1. Layout number 2, the original sketch had 3 kind of smaller photos, a couple of little tag looking things made out of pattern paper, a circle element for the title, and some other things, it shows you the little clusters for your embellishments, and then some journaling underneath here. In this case, I actually mirrored it because the photo, this is my grandmother, and she's looking, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, y'all. Saturn, no ma'am. Anyway, she's looking this direction, so I wanted to make sure that the picture was on this side. This is an old, I think it's a Simple Stories collection, and it had these little photo transparencies that you could lay over your photographs. So I thought that was really pretty. Anyway, I reversed it, and obviously I didn't have 3 photos. I just had the 1. So I tweaked it just a little bit. I do have the little circle element. I have a couple of the tags. And then, of course, I have the little splattery things. And then instead of these 2 like this, I cut out a couple of little word things from the papers. So I tweaked that a little bit. Obviously, the heart. Layout number 3, I followed the sketch pretty closely. I did put a few little extras up here, more so than here. They just have it kind of right here, but I kind of pulled it up a little bit. But other than that, I really kind of followed the sketch pretty closely. I did use a cardstock background, which is a little unusual for me. I usually feel like there's a little too much, I don't know, white space, blank space, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I thought this looked good, put little splatters. But I followed that sketch pretty closely. Now, layout number 4, or I'm calling number 4, I actually did this twice. I used this same sketch for 2 layouts. So the first layout is, I'm going to cover this up a little bit so you don't see everything, is Girl Squad. Now, this actually had a little girl drawn on the sketch. So I had this little girl, and I thought that kind of was cute. Again, I followed it fairly closely, except I did add more little embellishments up here than the sketch technically called for. And of course, my title goes across the whole thing as opposed to staying inside a circle element. And then I didn't really use a tag down here. I ended up creating my journaling here as opposed to over here. I just didn't want to do that on this pattern here. So again, still pretty closely. I did add this little extra little set of stuff here, which is not shown here, but pretty closely otherwise. Now this layout is based off of the same sketch. And again, I followed it fairly closely. I did not add, you can kind of see the difference. Hopefully, yeah, you can see the difference. I didn't put the stuff that's here. I don't have it here. I did stick mostly to the, again, it's not really a circle element, but it kind of comes up off of here. And then I have my title going across there. And in this case, I've used a little flamingo instead of the girl. Now in this one, I did use a little tag. Sorry, I'm moving this around so much, but anyway, I did put the little tag, but I added my little birds. So I did a little extras, but then I also did my journaling there. So that's the two layouts from the same sketch. I don't know that you can tell. You kind of can tell. But if you're looking at them, you may not even catch that it's the same sketch. So that was number 4. This is number 5. And again, followed kind of closely. You can see that I have, this is a Bow Bunny set. There is some pre-printed patterns on the corners here. And so I tried to incorporate that into the design in a sense. So I do have the 2 photos. They're basically sized the same. They are on a square block. I do have a little horizontal ledge here, although I did, it's a sticker as opposed to like a torn piece of paper. I did add that little queen for a day thing there. And instead of circle element, I have kind of this, I don't know what that's even called, some kind of shape here. There's nothing shown down here, but since the paper had it printed, I incorporated it and I added this spoon embellishment and a couple of flowers. I didn't really have to do much else to this because there was already, like I said, this kind of mixed media splashy looking stuff on here. So that's my interpretation of that sketch for number 5. This is sketch number 6. And again, this one I followed pretty closely. Except I did, instead of journaling here really, I put these little cut words. I probably should have journaled, to be honest with you, but it's okay. And then I used some Nuvo drops. And again, I have the little tag. I didn't put the paper clip. I just did a little bit different thing, but put my little goodies and stuff. And instead of a girl, I've put some feathers. But you see, I did follow the sketch pretty closely. Do have the 2 pictures. And then lastly is sketch number 7. And as previous layouts here, I've followed it fairly closely as well. Not 100%. And that's kind of, I think, the point of sketches, right? So I don't have like this tag. It showed like a tag here, you know, with some string or whatever coming off. And I've just done the actual title and then just added a few little embellishments here. I do have a little more up here, I think, than the sketch kind of calls for. It calls for the date as like a tag, and I've added a few little other things. And instead of like a bunch of journaling, I just took this cute little journaling. This is another Bow Bunny collection called Be Beautiful. And actually, it was funny. I had been scrapbooking one night, and my daughter just sent me this picture and says, "Can you scrapbook this?" And this is one of her best friends. She's her roommate at college. And I was like, well, what's the context? What do you want me to say? And she goes, I don't know, Courtney, just want you to scrapbook her. So I was kind of flattered. So anyway, I figured this was cute. So again, I followed the sketch pretty closely. These were just circles that I cut in half. I used a punch to cut them out and then cut them in half, ink the edges. But anyway, so that is my interpretation of the 2020, March 2020 Pagemaps sketches. I may probably still possibly do this sketch. I need to find some photographs. I'm certain I have them. I have thousands printed, so that's terrible. But anyway, I'm certain I can find something, and I may video it. So if so, I'll show you that. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate your watching my layout share. Y'all have a lovely rest of the day. Talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, wait, like and subscribe. So sorry. my hot mess of a channel. Thanks. Bye.